Welcome back to another episode of Admiral Sara Chronicles. And today I'm fresh off of the eclipse. We did have totality in my region, and it was spectacular, awe-striking, like wow, magical, magical, magical. Um, so anywho, and then I thought I need to get an Admiral Sara Chronicles up for the week because you got all your moon astrology tarot and whatnot. So anyway, thanks to all the new subscribers. I'll do a more formal video when I do the next moon astrology tarot. These are a lot more casual videos for me, but today we are talking about Q Who. This is an episode in season 2. I don't even remember what episode number this is, honestly. The season 2 of Star Trek Next Generation. And this is our first encounter with the Borg. And what I found fascinating rewatching this episode tonight was how this episode not only introduces us to the Borg, but it also shows us this powerful entity of Q. And we see a similar entity, if you think about it, Doctor Who. The Doctor is also a being that, excuse me, that can travel through time and space, right? He can go anywhere in time and space, kind of similar to Q. Q works on a more, I'd say sophisticated, maybe is the right word, as in he works on the Q continuum, whereas the Time Lord works out of a police box, which seems a little bit more like, not so sophisticated. But we do have this phenomenon of a being that can transverse time and space and can take the ship through different times and parts of space. And so I thought that was fascinating that, just with the snap of the fingers, Q could do that. And he demonstrates this in other, not only Next Gen episodes, but in Voyager episodes as well. I think he appears in 2 episodes of Voyager. So he's definitely more prominent with Captain Picard in the Enterprise versus Captain Janeway and Voyager, but still there's that. And there are also a few books, fan fiction about Q. One is called Q Squared, which I do believe spans between Picard and the Enterprise and Kirk and and Kirk's Enterprise. And I'm really not I don't know a lot about the original Star Trek series. It's one that I just haven't dove into yet. Anywho, so we've got that going on and that fascination of this entity that can traverse through time and space. And then we are introduced to the Borg, and that this is a half organic, half artificial intelligence being. And this is where I think a lot of Transformers, because Transformers, are meant to sort of support or bridge the gap between humans and machines. However, the Borg, on the other hand, are not so friendly about it. They want to assimilate you, make you a part of the Borg collective. And we go on to the Borg ship. We get a first introduction of a Borg ship, which is a cube shape, very plain, cubed shaped ship. Try saying that 6 times fast. Holy crap. And we see all the regeneration chambers. And then we also see the Borg nursery, which I don't think we ever see the Borg nursery ever again. This is like the one and only time that we see it. But, as Riker points out, it's like the babies are born as organic beings, as humans, and are immediately interfaced with artificial intelligence. And so then they grow up as Borg. And I don't know that we ever even see an infant assimilated to Borg. We see Annika Hansen as 7 of 9, but she was, I would want to say, like 7 or 8 when she was assimilated. And we see other, under 10-year-olds that are assimilated, I believe, throughout various various series in the franchise, but we don't see an infant ever again. However, what this brings to mind to me is, first of all, obviously the artificial intelligence, man versus man and machine, and the integration therein, but also like even if we think in like conditioning or in programming, right? If we think about ourselves as computers, we're programmed from a young age, depending on what version of air quotes collective you're born into, right? If you're born into, you know, if you're born into a Christian household, you're raised a Christian. If you're born into a Catholic household, you're raised as a quote cradle Catholic. And then even if you are, you know, a young child and you maybe you become a foster child and you move into a Christian home, you're like expected to convert or expected to assimilate to that household's practices, right? So it brings up this, and a lot of us, you know, if we were born into a certain household and that's how we're raised, you know, that's all that we know. And so when we get older and we start deprogramming and deconditioning, we see it multiple times when we try to, when Starfleet tries to rescue Borg. We see it with Hugh in Iborg. We certainly see it in Scorpion with Seven of Nine, and Voyager. And so we have this, like, you know, and when we try to separate ourselves from whatever collective we were raised in, it's hard, it's complicated, because you've got the guilt, the shame, the belittlement, the beratement of the people of that collective expecting you to stay within that collective. But, you know, obviously at some point, a lot of us rebel against whatever we were raised or however we were raised, whatever belief systems we were raised, right? We rebel against them. And then we face the scrutiny of that, the people from that. But we also face the, oh shit, now what? Which is what Hugh faced in Iborg, where he was separated from the collective and he just couldn't function, right? And then, unlike Hugh, Seven of Nine had the support of Captain Janeway and Voyager to make the transition back to somewhat of a human existence, and ultimately fall in love with Chakotay. Damn, she's still the man, right? But my point is like Hugh is like a perfect example of he was separated from the collective, but he couldn't survive without the collective, right? He didn't know how to be in relationships when he was separated from the collective, and trying to, you know, create or build a friendship with Geordi. He didn't understand what that meant or how that was supposed to go, right? So I think that's interesting to think about as a whole. You know, if you're born into and assimilated immediately into a certain way of being, you're assimilated into, you know, hiding from your emotions, or, you know, you're assimilated into a farm family, so that's all you know. You're assimilated into a football family, so that's all you know. When you break away from that, there's resistance, there's scrutiny, there's all these things. And so this is an interesting peek into what Borg life is like. And this is our first taste of Borg. I don't think we see the Borg again until Best of Both Worlds. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we don't see Borg again until Best of Both Worlds. And obviously we see the Borg quite a lot in Star Trek Voyager because they're in the Delta Quadrant, which is where the Borg, you know, lives. So anywho, fun little things to think about as we, you know, the Borg is like the example of the dark energy of Aquarius. We talk about that every zodiac sign has a dark and a light energy, and the light energy of Aquarius is individuality, uniqueness, authenticity, and we all sort of accept each other and work together as a whole to, you know, to get things to you know, make progress and you know, whatever, build build and farm and all of the things. On the flip side of that, the dark energy of Aquarius is we all think as sleepy sheep and we follow along with whatever the collective wants, right? We really saw this in 2020 and in 2021 when people just followed along, even if they knew it was wrong or they knew it was stupid, people played along. That's the dark energy of Aquarius. When you cannot stand your ground on being your own individual, authentic, strong self is the dark energy of Aquarius. In fact, it is the reason why I don't like the song Age of Aquarius. Because as I recall, the members of the group, singing group, all wore the same damn thing. When we uniformly costume, right, that's collective. That's the dark energy of Aquarius. It's why I wear pants with planets on them or pants with, flowers. I wear pants that are different. I hardly ever wear like neutral pants. And so damn shame y'all don't get to see that on camera. But my point is that, it's being unique in whatever flavor that is for you that gives you that light energy of Aquarius. So while we are seemingly finished with 2020 and 2021, but as we step further into this decade, the 2020s decade, your individuality is going to matter. You being unique in your community, in your family, despite the pushback, despite the resistance you may get, right? If you've been following my channel long enough, you probably know, or if you're friends with me, you probably know, my family doesn't agree with everything I do. They think I'm nuts half the time, or they think I'm a bitch half the time. Whatever. I still push forward because for me, I intend on creating a life of joy for myself. And that's nobody's responsibility but mine to be happy, to be joyful in what I do, whether that's Admiral Sara's Chronicles, Star Trek Tarot, or, creating community events because I want to, or because I see the community wants to, or whatever, participating in things that are so in support of my community or my friend groups or whatever, even if like I get pushback from my family, doing things that upset my friends, not because I'm trying to upset my friends, but it's because it's what I want to do, right? And so it's one of those like essentially letting go of their criticisms and their judgment because I want to do it or I have to do it. A lot of it has gotten to the point where I have to do it in like the core of my being. I have to do it. I can't not do it. I can't not do this work. I can't not do my videos. I can't not work with clients. I can't, these are things where like I get to be a conduit for my clients, a conduit for y'all on these videos, right? It's that important to my core to do what I need to do behind the scenes to bring it. So it's really this is the dark and the light energy of Aquarius. And as we step further into Pluto and Aquarius, this is what we're going to see. You can follow along the sleepy sheep and continue to follow the collective and do what they do and fall from, whatever, and hate your life and feel like shit. And that's okay. You're cool. That's completely fine. But if you don't, then I highly recommend getting into the light energy of Aquarius and being whatever the water bearer is for you. What service, what support can you provide to others, right? So anywho, I hope that makes some sense. But yes, the Borg is basically the epitome of the dark energy of Aquarius. It's just comical to me how like perfect it is. Not comical that it is that way. But anyway, so this was, like I said, Q-Who was our first encounter with the Borg. We got to see what their technology looks like. We don't know about their assimilation process yet. We don't know, how to work our weapons with them yet. We don't learn that until later on in Next Gen and certainly into Voyager. But yeah, that was our intro to the Borg. So we have a entity, Q, who can traverse time and space, similar to Doctor Who. And then we have the Borg, who operate as a collective. So that's Q Who. Thanks so much for tuning in to Admiral Sara Chronicles, and I will see you on the next episode, or I will see you in Moon Astrology Tarot. And we do have a Scorpio full moon. I know it's still a week and a half away, and we're just coming off the eclipse, but we do have a Scorpio full moon coming up soon, so be looking out for that video shortly. All right, thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.